Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before. This is GABNET, the Great American Broadcast Network. We're GABNET, and we've got you covered live 5 nights a week. First Tuesday through Friday at 9:30 Eastern, it's The Exchange.
Facebook group called Star Trek Discovery. Somebody posted, this was the worst episode ever. It was just a bunch of people on the ship talking. and I just have to say...
Have they not seen Star Trek before?
Yeah, I just have to say, if you are looking for action and explosions, you are likely to be disappointed by Star Trek. May I recommend another viewing of Star Wars?
Tuesday through Friday at 10 Eastern. Join Alex Bennett on the Ramble.
So I just had to bear it as it was trying to heal. And then I would be sleeping on my stomach, and then I would turn around, and it had adhered itself to the sheets. And so whatever scab I had, are you ready for this, folks? Whatever scab I had would get ripped off, and I'd be bleeding like a stuck pig. And so I had to finally, you couldn't put a Band-Aid on it. You know, it was in a place you just had to wait for it to finally take care of itself.
Tuesday through Friday at midnight, The Intersection.
Well, you know, we have to get rid of Pence as well, because Pence is an end-timer.
You know, and we need to say to Pence, you know, you're damn right. I want a rapture because I want fools like you off of my planet.
If you like sports, we've got that too, with The Arena, Wednesday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern.
The Jesus guy in San Francisco, when you go down 19th Avenue, the guy with the pink phone.
Okay.
I know you've met him before. I know you've seen him before.
Okay, what about him?
The one that says, when you're walking down the street, he walks up to you with a pink phone, and he says, Jesus is on the phone.
Oh, okay. All right.
And he tries to hand it to you, and you're like, wait a second. Now he's walking around with Jimmy Garoppolo's on the phone. You gotta answer.
Finally, you can get hot and bothered on Connections at 10 p.m. Eastern Monday, and by delay Tuesday through Friday at 1 a.m. Eastern.
So, Lizzie, you say you never cheated in a relationship.
Nope.
But you do understand cheating. And I'm pretty sure you may have done that in some way, shape, or form, just not in the relationship. You ever cheat on a test? You ever cheat on your diet?
Yeah, my pregnancy.
Yeah. I failed.
Dang it! It says no.
Last test I took, I failed.
Two tests you don't want positive, right? HIV and pregnancy.
Catch up on all the shows with our weekend flashback. All shows have the Citizen Panel, an exclusive concept of GABNET. It's new, it's daring, it's talk like you've never heard it before. Reasons why you tune into GABNET. Here's reason number 9. Great celebrity guests.
So how many years is this now with Teller?
43, and that's 43 continuous. You can try to say Keith Richards and Mick Jagger go longer, but they take 3, 4, 5 years off. You know, even when they're together, they take the time off. Continuous, you know, no more than 2 weeks working apart.
Wow. And
like being waterboarded for 43 years.
GABNET. Reasons to listen every day. Log on to gabnet.net for more. GABNET. It's talk like you've never heard it before. Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before. This is GABNET, the Great American Broadcast Network.
Hey! Hey everybody, this is Alex Bennett, and this is, of course, The Ramble, and it goes on from now until midnight here on the East Coast of the United States, Eastern Daylight Time, and we're going to do a little thing with somebody, and then we'll, in about 25 minutes, get to our citizens panel and have some very interesting discussions. But first, let's check in with our old pal. Mm-hmm. Ladies and gentlemen, his name is Larry Bubbles Brown. Don't ask us again why his name is Bubbles. It just happened. It was an act of fate, wasn't it?
Yeah, act of fate, and I can't shake it to this day, so I'm stuck with it.
So yeah, and actually, it was Paula Poundstone, right?
Paula Poundstone, yeah.
Yeah, who named you Bubbles. Well, because of your cheerful, wonderful. Do you ever meet up with Paula again lately, or? Ever?
I haven't seen her in, let's see, last time I saw her was November of 2002, so that's a long time ago.
November? Boy, you remember. I can't remember when I talked to you last, you know? So.
Well, I can't, yeah, the short-term stuff, like I know I talked to you a couple of weeks ago, but I'm not good on that either. But
yeah.
Older stuff I can tend to remember, so. I think that's common with most
figure
people.
I'm just hurtling towards death. That's what I'm figuring.
Yeah, we all are, yes.
Yes. In a never-ending spiral downward. Doesn't get any better. I was talking to my ex-wife yesterday about this, Ronnie, and I said, it just doesn't get any better. You know, there should be some payoff for all of this. You know, I went through all this shit for like 78 years of my life. Dear God, give me something special now to look forward to. And all I have to look forward to is a grave.
I know.
Wow.
Pain.
You know, I agree with Marlon Brando. Was it Marlon Brando when he died, and his last words were, what was that all about?
Yeah, it's like on your deathbed, you'll look back over your life and go, what the fuck was that all about?
Yeah. Do you have any? Do you know any famous last words?
I had a book of them once. I forget what. Some of them were really good.
Yeah.
Somebody famous is something about where's the light? He wanted the light was going. Where's the light? That was his last word.
Well, Sam Kinison, when he was lying in the highway dying, looked up the sky and went, I see, or I understand, something like that.
Yeah. Someone was just telling me that happened 26 years ago this week.
Sam died 26 years ago? It was like it was yesterday to me.
Yeah, it was the second Friday of April of '92.
Wow. But, of course, I came up with Isadora Duncan's famous last words. I think my scarf's caught in the...
That's hilarious.
Sorry, all you Isadora Duncan fans, if I'm being heretical on this whole deal, but, you know, come on. You know.
No, why you? Some people might not know who she was, so you should explain that.
I mean, I think that the worst part of Isadora Duncan's life is that she had to be played by Vanessa Redgrave. So, you know.
Yeah.
Is Vanessa Redgrave still alive? I guess she is, isn't she?
I think she is, yeah.
Yeah. It's Lynn Redgrave, I think, who died. Her sister. And that was wasn't she married to, what's his name? Oh boy, I'm fucked. I'm just fucked. I shouldn't talk to any other human beings because I can't get out a coherent sentence. And my whole life has been about communication.
So Isadora Duncan, what was the joke about she and JFK probably should have left the top up? Or?
Yeah, something like that. Well, there are all these ugly stories like the death of Jane Mansfield. See, folks, whenever I call Bubs, we talk about death. And things like that.
I loved Jane Mansfield she was, I guess, the poor man's Marilyn Monroe.
Yes and no. You know, to begin with, she was a lot more intelligent than Marilyn. She was I think a Rhodes Scholar or something. I mean, she was like brilliant, okay? And she came up with this character. You know, she had big tits, so she played that blonde, big-titted character. And but she was quite, understand, quite brilliant. And she died in that highway accident where supposedly, according to the photograph, her head is on the hood of the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And surviving in that accident was her daughter, who...
Yes.
Was a very successful actress
on one of those Law and Order things. What's her name? Mariska Hargitay. Right. Yeah, that's her daughter. People are going, what? Mariska Hargitay is her daughter? Yeah, and probably more successful than Marilyn ever was in total.
Yeah, it's so weird that she actually survived. She was in the crash.
Was she in the crash of that car?
Yeah.
Wow. I never hear interviews about her talking about anything about that, you know?
Probably too painful.
Yeah, but death, the great equalizer of us all.
I know. I had there's a list of, there's been a lot of famous people that have died on Christmas.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. Let me see. All you have to do, you know, the wonderful thing about life today, here's one of the great payoffs for living this long. You just go into your browser and you go people who died on Christmas.
And don't say Jesus.
No, no, he didn't. Who died on Christmas? Here we go. I typed it wrong. They even correct my typing. People who died on Christmas. Okay. All right. Here we got some for you. Wait a minute. Let me just open this up here, though. This isn't opening up. Come on, open up. There we go. Who died on Christmas? Okay. All right. You ready for them?
Mm-hmm.
This is a happy show today, folks. Here we go. Okay, first of all, let's start with, okay, let me see here. Okay, George Michael died on Christmas, but we'll get to him in a bit. W.C. Fields, 1946, died on Christmas.
Our favorite.
Dean Martin died on Christmas.
1995.
James Brown died on Christmas. Eartha Kitt. Now we're getting to names I don't understand. Vic Chestnut. Have you ever heard of Vic Chestnut?
No.
Okay, well, then forget him. That was it. That's the list.
Oh, how about Charlie Chaplin?
Oh, wait a minute. Well, hold on a second. Let me go back. Maybe this list is not as complete as it should be.
And
okay,
Brittany Murphy.
Come on. Who?
Brittany Murphy.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, Brittany Murphy, the actress. But wait a minute. List of celebrities who died on Christmas Day. I'll look back. Okay, let's see. That was on this day. Let's see here. It's one of those things where you have to go through each page, and I don't want to do that.
That's annoying, yeah.
This is fucked. I don't want this. Go back. Famous people who died on Christmas Day. Okay. And this one is all in Greek. Oh, jeez. Celebrity deaths, 216. Long list of beloved stars and figures who lost. No. Died on Christmas. Born and died on Christmas Day. Who died on Christmas Day? 2016. Yeah. Oh, well. You would think famous births and deaths on Christmas Day. Okay, let's see what that yields us. Who has died on Christmas Day? I can't find it. Wow. So far, so much for Wikipedia, fuckers. Famous Christmas babies. You know, that would be Isaac Newton was born on Christmas. So was Clara Barton, Muhammad Ali Jinnah. I don't know who that is. Robert Ripley, born on Christmas.
Believe it or not.
I knew Robert Ripley's godson.
Ripley wasn't he from Santa Rosa? Or
I don't know where he was from, but my friend Earl Dowd was his godson. Believe it or not. Humphrey Bogart, Jimmy Buffett was born on Christmas Eve, Annie Lennox, Shane McGowan, on Christmas Day, rather. Yeah, those are the people, are famous people who died on Christmas. So, anyway, I can't find any more. It's like
there's a lot. But
I would have thought that I would have gotten a better answer from the internet. So my life is fucked.
It is.
You know. But anyway, so what's new with the wonderful world of Larry Bubbles Brown?
Larry, I've been working. I'm still working at this age. I don't know if you get to. I don't know if you should even take the stage once you hit 60. So it's,
well, they don't take you. They don't take you.
Didn't prepare for retirement, so I got to keep working.
They don't take you as seriously anymore, do they?
I don't think so. No,
no. They dismiss age. You would think. You see, here's the thing, folks. I got to tell you, there's a thing called virtuosity. I learned about it when I was a kid because my father was a musician, and he would talk about people who were virtuosos. And virtuosity is a product of age, the ability to do something expertly. And you would think that as a comic, having done this for how many years now?
Yeah, 37.
37 years, that people would say, wow, we got to go see him. He's probably really good right now. But the trouble with comics is, unless you keep practicing your craft and are allowed to, it's going to go away. You know, like, do you find that if you don't work for a month, and I'm sure that's happened.
Oh, it's terrible. If you don't do, I probably do 7 or 8 sets a month now, maybe 10, which is not enough. So it's like hitting a baseball. So you don't go out for a week, and then you forget half your material, and you're struggling. And yeah. When we were working like crazy in the 80s and doing 10 sets a week, you got really sharp and knew your act. And
there was a horrible thing in San Francisco called the San Francisco Comedy Competition, which I always hated. But it was like a grueling, how many week process?
3. We had the preliminaries, the semis, and the final, so it was 3 weeks.
Yeah, and every night you were going on and having to be better than you were the night before. So when you were through with it, even though it was a terrible thing to go through, I think you were probably better for it.
Yeah, it made you pretty sharp.
Yeah.
It was grueling.
Did you ever make it to the finals?
No, I had a lock on 6th place.
You had a lock on 6th place.
You can always make money on me betting Bubbles and play 6th. That was
wow.
And I remember I would have made it 1 year, except I never go overtime. And the last night of the semis, I went way over. So
yeah. Usually when we start talking, you always have some question that you came up with. And this, I guess the last couple of weeks, nothing's happened that you wanted to ask.
No, I was trying to think. I've been too busy the past week. I did talk to, the last time we talked about Hedy Lamarr.
Yeah.
And
by the way,
I ran into your old friend Tim Bedore.
Yeah.
Somehow I brought up Hedy Lamarr, and he said, I think she was responsible for the cell phone. Which I said, yes, Alex knew that.
Yeah, but there's a documentary coming out, and I can't remember, I think it's on Netflix next week, a whole documentary on Hedy Lamarr. I believe it, it's either that or HBO, I can't remember which, and they're doing a whole documentary on the life of Hedy Lamarr. All of a sudden...
sounds so interesting that you would think this would have been done years ago.
Well, all of a sudden, this is like, I already saw a documentary that was out a couple of weeks ago, and then, you hit TV shows like Timeless where they portray Hedy Lamarr when they go back in time, and Agent Carter, which I'm sure you never saw, but the bad woman on that show, the evil woman, was based on Hedy Lamarr, because she was a scientist and knew how to do all these things and so on, was a movie star as well. And now they're doing a documentary on her. All of a sudden, the world is paying attention to Hedy Lamarr. Now, how many years has she been gone? But it is one of the most remarkable stories ever.
Yeah, I couldn't believe the stuff you were telling me about.
And I won't repeat it for this audience, although if you didn't listen, Hedy Lamarr basically invented, along with a guy by the name of George Antheil, a thing called frequency hopping, which allowed torpedoes and other such missiles to hit their target without being shot down because of the frequency hopping. Weapons couldn't trace them, okay? And the Army never used it, and then in 1952 they decided to start using it, and the patent went south, right, on it. And today you've got a cell phone, and it works because of Hedy Lamarr's invention.
All right.
Because frequency hopping is like, for instance, you go from cell to cell. That's frequency hopping. Yeah, but she would have been very wealthy had she not given up the patent and had she lived long enough. But I think she lived to be pretty old. I think we said into her late 80s or something like that. She's one of those people that it's just an amazing story because you look at her and she's so damn beautiful, you'd think she just didn't have a brain in her fucking head. And that's a mistake we make. I think beautiful women have a harder time in this world in the scientific community than homely women, because you expect somebody who's a nerd, a woman nerd, to be homely. But hell, I've known some genius women who are just gorgeous. So, that flies in the face of that. But that's one of our prejudices. It's the same prejudice as you're old, so therefore we dismiss you.
Yeah.
Oh, there, old man. Just sit in the corner and let us adore you as an elderly human being. Oh, it's your birthday. You're 100 years old. I mean, why do people clap people who are 100 years old? They didn't do anything to get there. They just had to keep breathing. It's like, remember all those radio shows that I used to have, and TV shows where people you have a couple on, say, how long you've been married? And they go, we've been married for 10 years. And everybody would applaud. Like it was a big deal. So.
And they used to applaud. We've got 10 kids. They would applaud.
Oh, yeah,
that,
they'd applaud that too. Yeah. I would go.
We're repopulating the planet.
I would go, you should be assassinated.
Yeah.
You're taking up too many fucking parking spaces.
True.
Yeah, no, really. I mean, we always adored these people. We still do. We have these TV shows, 8 is enough or whatever. These different reality shows about families with too many fucking kids around the house. And I'm thinking about what that woman's vagina must look like by now. That's all that's going through my head. I mean, she had to pop 8 puppies through that thing. You've got no kegels left.
No kegels. I really have always felt the government should give you $10,000 a year for every year you don't have a child.
Well, I think you should be allowed to have 2 children, okay? And that's it. After that, you pay
cap it at 2.
After that, you pay taxes. Now, people go, well, in China, they only allowed people to have 1 kid. Yeah, because they had 1 billion fucking people, and they had to do something about it. And it wasn't that you had to go out and get an abortion, but if you had a second kid, you had to pay for the right to have that second kid. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No, me either.
I find that perfectly acceptable to me. I just think people have too many kids. I mean, to begin with, what are you doing to the rest of the kids in that family? You're making boy. You always talk about like the first child and the middle child and the oldest child, right? Or the whatever. And you only talk in terms of 3s, but when you're talking in terms of 8, I mean, you're a middle child. You don't even know where you are. So, what was it Woody Allen said in the movie Ants? The line they wrote for him: "I was the middle child of 5,000."
I never heard that.
But anyway, no, it's too much. Now, you haven't had any kids, right?
Not that I know of.
Did you ever get anybody pregnant?
Once, yeah.
Yeah. What happened? They chopped it out?
We took care of it, yeah.
Took care of it.
I did some number crunching. Abortion 250 or child support 18 months, 12 months times 18 years.
Yeah. The other thing is that, I was thinking, like, why did you want the abortion? Because you felt you were too ugly, or she felt you were too ugly? Although, something, if you had a child, there's some genius sperm going on there. Because you're just,
Well, I don't know. I think I might have some number. The kid might remember dates. That'd be about it.
No, but I mean that in and of itself is a genius. Okay, I mean you're very, very, very smart. Okay? You remember. You don't just remember dates and days. You also remember incidences, too.
Yeah, but you've got that vast knowledge of everything. So.
Well, no, you know why I get a vast knowledge of everything? I don't know everything. But when you're doing a talk show, you just by osmosis learn a lot, just by listening to your callers. And so it was very important for me to have all this knowledge at hand, although most of it has flown away somewhere. I was talking again to my ex-wife about memory loss, and she said they believe that you get memory loss because you've got too many memories. That
it's like a hard drive has got.
It's getting full. Yeah. And when you get Alzheimer's, it's crashed. So you just take it down to the local shop, and they'll repair your hard drive. No, but I mean,
maybe they could do that.
Well, the brain, computers. I don't know. Are they smarter than us, or are we smarter than them? I mean, we did invent them, so we have to have some kind of precedent over a computer. But a computer can figure things out faster than we can. We could never do what a computer does now, and that's the big mistake. I mean, we're giving up too much of our lives and our world to computers, and relying on them as being.
Yeah, well, we've certainly given up our privacy. That's for sure.
We're giving them an empirical sense that they're right on everything. They got to be, and that's not true. They don't have to be, So I mean, and here's the thing: we've become too dependent on all these devices. Let's say tomorrow, for some reason, and it could happen, a solar flare or whatever, all our cell phones no longer worked. What would happen? Now, we got along without them before, but could we get along without them now? Most people in their homes, you have a. I'm talking to you over a telephone that's anchored to a wall, okay? But most people now, including myself, don't have phones at home. They have their cell phones. That's it. I stopped using my home phone 6, 7, 8, 10 years ago. I can't remember how long ago. When I finally said, I've got this cell phone. It rings anywhere. What do I need a home phone for? So I can hear it ring and go pick it up? And yet the cable company kind of forces me to have, as part of their service, a phone. So I do have phones here, but I never use them. I don't even remember the number. Because I use the cell phone. Oh, damn it. See, the internet got rid of him. Let me call him back here. Let's see. Oh, no, now we're having trouble. Okay, all right. We'll try again. No, that doesn't work either. There we go. Boy, I don't know, the internet, Skype, the internet, something went down.
Yeah.
I tried calling you back about 3 times. The audience heard me do it, and just as I was talking about computers, by the way.
Talking about landline.
Landline, yes. This is half landline. I'm calling his landline. I'm not calling your mobile, am I?
No, this is a landline.
Oh, okay. Because I don't know if I could call you on your flip phone.
You probably could. But
Yeah. How old is that phone?
The flip is now 12 years old.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Son of a bitch.
I think it's starting to die.
You are the ultimate Luddite. I love it. You have no need for any of this technology.
That's true. I don't know. Like you said, we did live without it. And I think all this stuff, it's supposed to, I think, bringing people together. I think people hate each other, so it's not good. So.
Yeah. Well, Bubbles, since I called you back, it's now time to say goodbye.
Oh, already?
Yeah, already. It's been so much.
Well, I would love to see this documentary about Hedy Lamarr. So.
Well, you have to then get either Netflix or HBO or whatever it's on, and you don't have that. Or
my sister does. She's got Netflix. I can see it there.
Oh, so you go over to her house and watch.
Yeah.
So you go over there to watch all your TV. I see.
Right.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, he's Larry Bubbles Brown. Thanks, Larry.
Thanks, Alex.
Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network.
And hello, everybody. How are you? Good morning, breakfast covers, and howdy do ya? That should be. It used to be a radio show I listened to when I was a kid. It was the Breakfast Club. I think I talked about that on Life in the Passing Lane. But you know, yeah, I'd like to be in the center here, but I'm not in the center. It's driving me nuts. Okay, well. What the hell? I'll work on it tomorrow. I don't need to work on it while I'm doing the show. Okay? All righty. Listen, it's time for us to go to our citizens panelage and turn it on here. Get it ready to go. If you want to call us, go over to gabnet.net. And the whole primer is on the right-hand side of that page, telling you exactly what you have to do in order to get with us on the show. Okay, let me see here. If I move this way, does that get me more towards the center? I guess it does. I don't know. I give up. Trying to get things to work these days is just so fucking friggin' impossible. I got a new computer that I bought from Phil. It was a Mac Mini, and they're terrific. They're really terrific. But I'm having to set it up again, and it's like starting from from point 0 to try and get it to figure out what you're going to do, how you're going to make it work, and so on and so forth. So I don't know. So all day I've been trying to actually what I've been doing is relearning the. Let me see here. I bet I can get myself closer to the center by going like this. There we go. There we go. All right. I'll leave it there because I still want the on the air sign to show up. Okay. All right. Okay. Anyway, so I've set up a lot of Macs. I have maybe my 5th Mac, 6th Mac I've set up, and I can't figure out certain things. It's like if you haven't done it in a while, like all my Macs are set up, so. That's just fine. But now I got to set up a new one, and I got to remember where everything was. And I have things happening like, I don't know. If I let it stay there for any amount of time, it goes to my sign-in. And then I put it on 2 different screens, and the trouble is the sign-in goes on the screen that isn't my main screen. It's just back and forth, and it's a pain in the ass. But I'm getting it to work. But so when I'm doing something, my mind keeps going to that, and well, here's a guy who sold me that piece of shit, fucking cocksucker. Actually,
yeah. Well, your credit card got denied.
The credit card got denied.
It said decline.
Decline. Yeah. No. He actually takes credit cards, folks. Actually, you probably haven't taken credit cards in a long time because you couldn't remember how to get the credit card up and running.
Well, at the store, I have these dedicated credit card machines, but I have this thing called a Square Reader. And, oftentimes when I'm doing a photography or a wedding or somebody wants to buy prints, I use, and also when I make the ear things for people, they pay me on that little card reader.
Yeah.
But so you stick it in the phone, and you run the card through.
Oh, so you couldn't do that.
Yeah, I had to type it in.
So I gave you my credit card number and my little PIN number or whatever that is, and you were able to get on okay. Of course, charge a lot of things to me. So
well, you don't mind that trip to Europe I just put on.
No, not at all. Not at all. As long as you got 2 seats.
Yeah, I needed 2 seats. I haven't lost weight yet.
You haven't lost weight yet? You would think that with the operation and everything, you would have just, you've been a little off your eating schedule.
Well, about 5-6 pounds. Hey, is there something going on the GabNet site? You know how the YouTube thing?
Yeah.
it didn't work when you had bubbles, at least on my thing. And then I went to.
Well, no, it's working all right.
It's working?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. The audio's going out.
Well, yeah, I need to refresh it or something.
The click here for the 24/7 feed. Let's see if that's working here. Hold on a second. Off your eating schedule. See, that's working. So I don't know which problem was.
It's probably on my side.
Probably on your side, you know.
So yeah, I'm glad you like it. Now, has that ear gene stuff made a difference?
No, I haven't had. I don't have the ear problems. Okay, right now.
Yeah.
So however, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, once you start using that, you go from like one swipe a day to two to three to four, and then you start giving rich old dude head and limousines so you can buy that stuff.
Yeah. No, but what was happening is I use these things, right?
Yeah.
And you use them too. And I found out about a week ago, my ear started itching something fierce, and I think it was from using this. And finally, I put ammonia in there. You ever put ammonia in your ear?
No, I can't say that I have.
If you put ammonia in your ear, it's fun because it's bubbles in your ear. And I did that, and that kind of helped it, you know.
Well, on the medical front.
Yeah, here we go. Here we go with medicine, folks. Yeah, we're all.
You know, I went into Kaiser about my finger, and while I was there, I said, "Could you check to see if I have any earwax?" And the guy looks in there and he says, "Yes, you do."
Yeah. So
they had me put these drops in my ear, and this is just yesterday.
You know what that is? It's hydrogen peroxide in a more greasy form.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I had to put them in twice a day.
Yeah.
For about 2 days.
Yeah.
And yesterday I went back to Kaiser, and the nurse squirts water.
Yeah.
Well, you should have seen what came out of it.
I know. I had that. They did that to me once when I was a kid, and I had trouble hearing. So they went, "Oh, you got some wax in there." So they put this stuff in my ear, and it gurgled around for a while. And then the guy took a plunger thing, and he squirts it in my ear, and this boulder comes shooting out. Literally a boulder, like with Indiana Jones running ahead of it. That's how big it was.
Well, both she and the doctor told me that I didn't have any wax in my left ear. And I said, I don't think so. I said, why don't you squirt something in there and see? I've been putting the drops in. And sure enough, a boulder came out of there, too.
Yeah, it's like a big chunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, they know how to do it right. I've tried to take squirters and put them in there after doing the hydrogen peroxide, and it doesn't seem to ever kind of come out like that. But I do get rid of most of it just by using the forget it. Peroxide.
Yeah, well, it's probably the shit that I used.
Yeah, it's peroxide. Same thing. Yeah, that's all they use. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
It's how they take care of it.
I haven't had that done in 15 or 20 years. So, I'm going to go in once a year. Let them do it. It's free.
Yeah, sure. And it's fun to watch that boulder come flying out of your ear,
Absolutely.
Well, I do the thing they say never you do. I stick a Q-tip in my ear.
Yeah.
And swirl it around, then this big gunk comes out. The best time to do is when you first wake up in the morning because for some reason your head is hot or something.
Yeah.
And you get like a big chunk of this stuff. I'm just so proud of it when I get a large chunk of it. I want to show it to everybody,
Well, that ear gene will actually soften your ears.
Mm-hmm.
It's for ear hygiene, but it stops the itching.
Yeah.
For instance, see, I have these custom-made ear things.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have these etymotics fit and then glued into them.
Yeah.
So that they're much more comfortable than
when he's talking about etymotics, he's talking about the earphones that we're using here. And what's nice about them, I'll tell you, that I love about them is they got this little like spongy thing. It's and you like squeeze it down, and then you put it in your ear, and then it expands, and then everything around you is pretty silent, and you're getting nothing but the pure sound. Now, they have another version of this that you can actually stick in your ear, not that thing, but they have some you can actually stick in the ear canal, which I don't trust, but I got it in there once, and they do sound really good. But then these things cost about $79, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want the more expensive ones, there are more expensive ones. But
these were $99.
Depends on when you buy them.
Monitors. I didn't get the monitors after you advised me against it.
Yeah. But then I went and got these, which is a Bluetooth ear set.
Yeah.
The sound in this is better than with the Etymotics. The bass is deeper. Everything is better. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And plus, it's Bluetooth. So
and walk around.
You can walk around, walk down the street, answer the phone, sing a song, do some video, stuff like that.
Where are the usual suspects tonight?
I have no fucking idea. I'm giving up on this. I'm giving up on trying to figure out when and if they're ever going to call. It used to be everybody was waiting till the first minute to get on because you could get shut out if you didn't get on in time, right?
Well,
And now, I mean, we do get sometimes our full houses and things like that, but everybody's just too used to it. I think I maybe should stop it, and then everybody will miss it, and then I'll come back and everybody go, "Ooh, Alex is back again."
I think there's got to be a better way to populate it without breaking the momentum.
No, that could be a way of populating it. We, by the way, last night we ran the first of the 3 interviews with Jack Garfein, and I put them up, right? Tons of views. I mean, really, the most views we've gotten for anything.
Did you put up all 3 or just one?
No, I just put up the one. Then I'll put up the next one next week with the show, and then the third one, which is 50 minutes long, about 2 weeks from now. And then at that point, I will put on YouTube, and maybe I'll port it over to Facebook, the full hour and 50-minute interview, so that if people just want to turn people onto it or send them over there to watch it, because I think it's a great history lesson too. I think it, Yeah. But it was amazing how many people really wanted to hear Jack. I mean, I'm very gratified with that. I didn't know how it would go over.
That's great stuff.
Well, it's an old guy trying to tell stories and not at the peak of his powers to do it. You know what I'm saying?
I know a guy that does that every night at 10 o'clock New York.
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
So, as long as we don't have these other guys here, there's stuff going on today.
Yeah, like what stuff? You know something? I've gotten to the point again where I can't watch news anymore. I just can't watch it.
Yeah.
It's just
this Pompeo. He was being interviewed.
Yeah.
And people were trying to get him to fess up to Russian collusion.
Yeah.
And he just said, "Hey, look, I'm here for this interview, and let's stick to the facts."
Well, I tried to watch some of it, but I just exactly what's going to happen. The Democrats are going to level into him, and the Republicans are going to suck his dick. And it's so predictable. You used to have Republican senators who would suddenly be liberals for a couple of minutes, and liberals who become Republicans for a couple of minutes. But that doesn't happen any longer. It's like
only Zuckerberg. On the Zuckerberg deal.
Yeah.
The Facebook deal.
Yeah.
You had an equal opportunity. Nobody gave him a real free ride.
No.
Like the Republicans do with a Republican nominee, or vice versa.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then let's see what else is going on. The Russians are preparing for war.
Oh, wait. First of all, do you think they're going to approve Pompeo?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah. Why shouldn't they?
Because he's a dickhead.
Well, no, he's.
I think that's a good reason for people not to get there. I'm sorry, we have to deny you being Secretary of State because you're a dickhead.
Well, why would you think he's a dickhead?
He's a dickhead. Anybody that Trump would like is a dickhead. In my book,
Trump would like me, so I guess that's.
Yeah, I didn't say you weren't a dickhead.
Yeah.
And now that I finally got the computer here, you are a dickhead. Okay. So.
Oh, you didn't know about the virus I put in it.
Oh, really? Oh, I see. Okay. We might get another caller here. I noticed that Tony has just signed on.
Oh, yeah. Tony's been driving me crazy today. I finally told him he's one tweet away from being banned.
Okay,
again.
wait a minute. Here he is. You can tell him yourself.
I did.
Hey, Tony? Tony, are you there?
Oh, here I am.
Yeah, I understand you're one message away from being banned from Facebook by
he's
Phil.
right. I get carried away. I'm going to be very...
I have to just, whenever you do it, I shut you down fast.
Yeah, you got to take a note from Alex. Just don't bang.
Yeah, but why do you send these
you know what it is?
insanely inane Facebook messages?
You know what it is? I'll tell you what it is, Alex.
Yeah.
It's my job. I hate it.
Well, I know it's your job, and you hate it. But if you're going to send me something, send me something.
Yeah, because I can't.
By the way, don't do what Phil does. Phil sends me endless videos.
Oh, I like the videos though. Some of them are okay.
No, but that's
it's usually the cops beating somebody up.
What'd you say? What'd you say, Phil? Go ahead, Phil.
Chinese people.
What I sent you was my buddy Stoney. He just
that was good, Phil. I liked it.
Yeah, he's got like 600,000 views already, and so he did the photography and directed.
Yeah,
and there's some local comedian, Greek guy. Stoney's a friend of his, and that's the one I sent you. And I asked you. I said, did I already send this to you?
Well, I don't have time for those things.
The pizza thing, it was great.
I enjoyed it, Phil. I got a kick out of it at work.
You guys got nothing. You guys got nothing to do. Okay.
Look, it's true.
First of all, Phil's just trying to sell some fucking carpet all day. How boring is that?
I made 7 cases today.
And you made 7 hat cases today.
Story. This is what I do.
Yeah.
Eating lunch.
Anybody out there have exciting lives? I see Jeff Stein signing on, so we'll probably hear from Jeff in a moment, and he can tell us maybe really something exciting has happened in his life. What?
I couldn't, I did not like, I was watching the Facebook thing. Ted Cruz really made me sick. Some of those questions.
Really? Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Let me answer the Skype here. That's there. Here comes Jeff. You hated what? The Ted Cruz?
I just didn't like the line of questioning.
Oh, you mean we went to on the Facebook deal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, all those guys were idiots. Every single one of them. None of them knew what they were talking about. Some of them didn't even know they used words they thought were hip, and their assistants probably wrote up what they said. But if you, after they said it, if you were to nail them and say, okay, now tell me what you just said, they would not be able to tell you what it is they just said. It was something about social interaction with other people. That was there.
It's like one lady basically asked me, I don't know the exact question. She basically told me we don't have enough black people working in Facebook. Or
everybody had their own little axe to grind, and the fact was, to begin with, the Republicans were trying to make a big deal about, Facebook is so liberal that they won't let conservatives say anything. That's bullshit. That's absolute fucking bullshit.
Well, it is. I mean, they took down the 2 black
gals. They took down the 2
Trump.
black women because they were doing something that contravened the rules and regulations that had nothing to do with their politics of Facebook.
It was not mean-spirited. I saw it once, and I think they took it down, but it just didn't. It wasn't a positive, upbeat message, but it wasn't anything that I think that they should have been censored for.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know what it was or whatever, but there are things that, send up red flags to Facebook that amount to either bullying or fake news or whatever, and they get a bit sensitive about that. But, to bring up these 2 fucking women who have been yelling and screaming about it to anybody that will listen, even though they're on YouTube as well. Okay, and they're haven't been kicked off there. They have been yelling and screaming about this. This is only 2 women. This isn't the whole conservative movement in the country that they've suddenly had a jihad against and won't let use Facebook.
Yeah, I don't know. Do they think they're that important? These 2
they
people.
Listen. If Facebook has in their roles dead people, which we know they have, okay? Because I have a friend, Steve Gruberg, who died 4 years ago, and he's still on Facebook. Okay,
well, don't take down the
then,
dead people.
Then they're not going to get rid of conservatives. Okay, they're going to take anything that breathes or doesn't breathe.
He's got bigger things to do. Zuckerberg to worry about who's Maybelline and the other lady. They're taking themselves. So he's like, listen, I'm worth how much money? Do I really care about these two people?
As he sat there, because of his answers, his stock went up $3 billion.
Well, I don't know if this is legitimate. It's from a site called Think Progress, but it says Diamond and Silk's Facebook censorship theme is a hoax.
Really? What does it say? Wait a minute. Hold on a second. What does it say?
It says on Tuesday and Wednesday, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg came to Washington and testified for the first time in front of 2 congressional committees, provided a unique opportunity. Let me get down to the meat of it.
Yeah.
It said instead, many of the Republicans focused on Diamond and Silk. Diamond and Silk, frequent guests. They make it so shitty to try to read something.
Yeah.
With all the commercials in between.
Yeah.
Beginning in September, they claimed
Ted Cruz, you're right, Alex. Ted Cruz is making it sound like
let Phil try and make some sense out of this.
So, they claimed since September that there was a bias and censorship discrimination against the BNS brand. They claimed that their page was being discriminated against on their political views as a result, that they were reaching fewer people. Well, we know that one woman went to San Bruno and she was reaching fewer people and she was pissed. But Think Progress examined the Facebook data and their page and its performance, and the numbers clearly show that this claim is totally without merit. Well, I don't know. I don't see it.
Well, wait a minute. What are their names again?
Of who? The Diamond and Silk?
Diamond and Silk?
That can't even be their real names.
Let me see here.
Their real names.
Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Diamond and Silk, Facebook. Okay. So here's Diamond and Silk, and they're up.
Oh, there you go.
There they are. They're there.
Yeah.
Well, so he's not doing anything wrong. I didn't even think he knew who they were when they mentioned him. He's like, what?
Okay, so there's something called Cloud Triangle, a social media analytics platform owned by Facebook.
Yeah.
That showed the total interactions on the Diamond and Silk Facebook page were steady. So I guess they were claiming that they were throttled back, and
they got 1,546,000,000 people watching them, following them.
Yeah. Wow.
I've got 3. Okay. Fuck you, Diamond and Silk. And I would think that whole number would have gone back to 0 if they had taken their account off.
Yeah.
So I don't think their account was even off.
No, it doesn't look like it according to the analytics that Facebook says that they use to determine what was going on.
And here's
Senator Ted Cruz claimed that Facebook had blocked Trump supporters and Diamond and Silk's page with 1.2 million Facebook followers.
It says here, this is their latest tweet, their latest Facebook thing, and it's them saying the following, and it was posted 1 hour ago. If you're experiencing censorship on social media platforms, please tell us your story. Well, I'm not.
Yeah, evidently we can tell you because you're not being blocked.
But they said that their content was unsafe. I can't imagine how.
But like he said, Alex, he can take down.
I have no idea. If I had seen it, I could tell you what they meant by that. But apparently, there was some reason why they felt they needed to take it off. But these women aren't really conservatives. They're like Trump clown hats. There are 2 women who've been acting goofy about Trump ever since he started running. In fact, Ted Cruz said, and these people don't get any publicity, or whoever brought it up, they don't get any publicity. I saw them on the Jimmy Kimmel show.
Yeah, they learned how to move their head from Oprah Winfrey, from
one of them always repeats what the other one says.
Yeah, but I mean, I found the whole thing yesterday just absolutely, how can I put it, just off-putting because these guys were so idiotic. They didn't know what they were fucking talking about.
Yeah. So, Jeff, have you ever seen Diamond and Silk?
No.
No?
No, not at all.
All right.
But I did listen to part of it yesterday. And I noticed that a lot of people were asking questions. And nobody even knew what the question was about.
I was trying to figure it out. Like, what the fuck is he talking about?
Well, you know, I mean, look, you could take what's his name, the guy from Facebook, and interchange him with somebody from, say, what do they call it? Not Facebook, but Twitter or YouTube, and ask them the same questions, and you would get approximately the same answers. All right? So, really, that was a useless thing yesterday. Absolutely useless. It was only a positive thing for, what's his name? I forgot his name offhand.
Oh, Zuckerberg.
Zuckerberg. It was a great thing for Zuckerberg because, as I say, he earns $3 million while he sat there excusing the whole thing. And America felt that what he had to say, at least they were saying it with their money, made sense to them. So, no harm, no foul. You know?
I don't know if playing Diamond and Silk create a deal for you that might get you censored?
I have no idea. You know, well, I don't think I would have trouble on YouTube. I don't think so. But
let's see if this is the one.
What? Put it in front of your microphone. There you go.
Back to their country. Where they came here illegally. And see, now you have the president done weighed in on it. And he said, it's not who we are as Americans. And I say, no, Mr. President, it's not who you are as an American. That's right. We as Americans want our border secure. That's where we can feel safe in our country. We as Americans want our jobs back here in our country where we can thrive again.
Yeah, girl. Yeah. Wait a minute, hold on a second. Stop it a second. The other woman doesn't say anything, right? She just goes, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's the other one doing the ranting.
Right. The other one.
Right. What are you worried about? I don't know.
The other one's going, yeah.
What the fuck am I? What the fuck am I doing? What the fuck am I doing wrong? Okay, that's what I want to know. That's what I want to. The woman who goes into YouTube and shoots up the place. Had 11,000 people
anymore. They're talking about these two.
Yeah, but 11,000 followers. What do I have to do? You know,
you don't even talk about anything.
Place up.
Phil, maybe it should just be you and I, and I'll go and I'll yell and scream, and you'll keep going. Yeah, girl. Yeah. All right, girl. Right. Yeah.
I can't move
the neck. Camera on in the store. That would be good.
You need that upper cervical chiropractor.
Oh, you have a problem with that? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I was doing too much of this.
Yeah. But no, I just felt that the whole Zuckerberg thing, it just so put me off, and it's just this whole thing about whether I'm watching Fox or I'm watching MSNBC, it's all the same goddamn format.
I thought he did a good job.
It's just they're bashing from a different direction. That's all. What?
I thought he did a good job of defending himself. And
except that he at some point should have said, "You guys don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And when you go out, get an education, come back and ask me questions, and maybe I can answer them. But don't ask me a bunch of hypotheticals that have no sense in the real world."
That's the same thing they were asking Pompeo today. Was a bunch of hypotheticals.
Well, I mean, again, with Pompeo, I would imagine what was happening is all the Democrats there were out to nail him, and all the Republicans there were out to suck his dick. And and since that's so entirely predictable, why should I watch it? And the main reason why those senators and congressmen act the way they do is because they know this is going to be seen back home, and it's an election year, and they want people to see them. So they get tough with with the head of Facebook. You know, oh, wow. See how I took him to the woodshed? Yes, vote for me. You know, fuck you. This is all these committees that they hold, these hearings they hold, are total wastes of time. Nothing ever happens as a result.
Yeah.
You know, well, it's just it's a big dog and pony show, so they can go back to their districts and say, hey, look what I did. See how I talked to the guy at Facebook and I made him squirm, folks. Well, vote for me.
You know what the interesting thing that Republicans are saying right now?
Yeah.
Is that Republicans can't run on fiscal responsibility anymore because
fiscal responsibility?
Right, because they just raised it $1.5 trillion or $2 trillion, the debt.
Yeah.
They can't run on ending Obamacare because they didn't eliminate it when they had the chance.
Yeah.
You know, I got a feeling the Republicans are going to get trounced because they don't have any platform to run on. Nothing. You know,
the Republicans don't have any platform to run on, but and they've got to. What they're really going to have to do is run against the Trumpism in this country. They're being
because Trump is winning the battle for hearts and minds, if you can believe that.
No, he's not. How's he winning it? With a 38% approval rating?
Well, that's but it's a lot higher with Republicans.
Well, yeah, with Republicans, but you know, it should be 100% with Republicans, but it isn't. And Republicans do not represent the majority of voters in this country. You've got to get those people that are in the middle who swing either way depending upon the win to vote for your candidate. We know the Republicans are going to vote for the Republican. We know the Democrats are going to vote for the Democrats, but it's that, I don't know, 30, 40%, 20%. I don't know how big the percentage is in the middle that makes the difference. And those are the guys you set out to convince. You don't have to convince the Republicans.
He attacks Syria.
Yeah.
And does a couple of other things. You know, what else is going on? You got the Syrian attacks.
Well, he's not going to do this alone.
No, France is with him.
No, but I'm saying that he's not doing this alone. So if it's a total failure, he's going to make them take the blame for it, not himself.
Smart guy.
Yeah, of course. But I don't feel he's competent to make these decisions. I think maybe Mattis is, maybe some of the people around him are, but ultimately he has to make the final decision, and I don't trust that he's going to make the right one.
Well, we'll see.
I mean, last time, what did he do? He went and he shot up a base,
right,
and didn't kill anybody, and didn't put and the planes were flying in and out the next day, right, from the air base, and they couldn't hit this one particular hangar where they knew the poison gas might be because they didn't want to get the poison gas in the air by exploding it. So, again, is this going to be another one of those clusterfucks like the last time?
Well, probably because they're saying that they don't want to bomb Assad. That they could put a Tomahawk missile down his stovepipe and rock his world, but they're not going to do that. Isn't it amazing though?
Isn't it amazing, Phil? Doesn't this bother you a little bit that if you're a big country, and Syria is a bigger country than say a lot of others, they will think twice about bombing you. Your protection is just your position in the world. But if you're a smaller country, we'll blow you all to shit and not even think twice about it.
Well, which country did they blow to shit?
Well, no, I'm saying that little countries do not have that, are not afforded that same protection. I think
Kim Jong-un is not getting that kind of protection.
I don't think Kim Jong-un's getting that kind of protection at all.
Well, he's got his own bombs, and now.
Well, now he says. Well, he says he's willing to discuss doing away with nuclear weapons on the Korean Peninsula. That means all y'all with all your weapons get the fuck out of here and don't build your nukes. Then I won't build mine.
Well, that's fair.
Yeah, I think it's very fair. I think the sanest one of those two happens not to be Trump. It happens to be Kim Jong-un, a fat guy with a Mo haircut,
I have a short memory.
Huh?
I think you have a short memory. I think Kim Jong-un has made cyber attacks on us and, of course, Sony. He's launched missiles over Japan.
We only assume that he did Sony. There's never been any proof to that he did do Sony. We assumed he did Sony because of that movie. I don't know if that's exactly true. I don't know that he exactly has the brain power to do that kind of mischief. Okay.
Yeah, if he can make a nuclear bomb.
Now the Chinese can make that kind of mischief. They're very good at it, and the Russians are very good at it. But Kim Jong-un, I don't know. I don't know if he, the people who are really hungry don't make good coders, Yeah. I mean.
Yeah, well, he feeds a few of them, the ones that are there to push the button.
Yeah. I think Kim Jong-un got exactly what he wanted out of his whole thing. He wanted recognition and people to pay attention to him.
Well, and if he lives in peace with his southern neighbors, well, what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
I'd like to see that, and I'd like to see us as a country get the hell off the Korean Peninsula and let them police their own deals.
Well, maybe they will.
And that's Trump's position. But now he's talking about entertaining the TTP again. He's entertaining.
What do you mean he's entertaining it?
He's looking back into possibly negotiating a TTP deal with the East.
Mm-hmm. With the Asian nations.
Asian nations, right?
Yeah.
And so he's ordered that they look into that. Now he hasn't decertified Iran yet, and a number of his people that are around him don't want him to. But on the other hand, if he can negotiate a better deal.
Well, on one hand, I mean, like with Iran, he doesn't want to talk to them. Don't want to have anything to do with them. But then he says we have to talk to Russia because we have to find a common ground with these people. Well, then why don't you talk to Iran as well? Why shouldn't that be your strategy with Iran?
Well, it was a strategy with Kim Jong-un, and it seems to have worked.
No, his only strategy with Kim Jong-un was to insult him, and the only thing that brought Kim Jong-un around was the Olympics when the Koreans said, sure, we'll even have a team together. They were the ones who made the peace.
The South Koreans.
It had nothing
created the solution.
Yeah, they created the solution.
The South Koreans, as well as a lot of the rest of the Western world, crediting Trump for opening up.
I haven't heard that they're crediting him.
Yeah, they are. Even a lot of people in Congress and Senate.
Yeah. Anybody else going to call us, by the way, tonight? Or is it just going to be the three of us? And
Let me turn around.
What? No. 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 I mean,
Jeff, what you doing?
What did you say to Jeff?
What's got going on?
What do you got going on?
Well,
Jeff?
I'm waiting for the weather to change.
Yeah, I keep waiting for it to change too. I want that first spring day. I'm just waiting for it. I think it's tomorrow. I think it is tomorrow.
Are you guys? You have snow or something? What's going on?
No,
snow is over.
No, snow's over, but it still was like in the 50s today. It hadn't really warmed up. And tomorrow, Thursday, this is Thursday, right? 58. Tomorrow it's supposed to be 76 degrees.
Wow.
That's the day. That's the day to go outside. Finally,
your sinuses get clogged.
Spring is here. Spring is going to be here tomorrow.
So all the pollen.
But then I want to get out, but then at 1:15 I have to do Michael Snyder with his fucking movie reviews, and I won't be able to go out and take a walk because I got to listen to that drivel.
I've never heard it.
Good for you. It's one of the more useless things I do.
Yeah.
This show being the second most useless thing I do. So, because people don't call. Are you feeling guilty out there yet? I guess not.
Well, you always can play Diamond and Silk.
or go shoot up a social media office or something,
Hey, be careful! They'll knock you off of YouTube.
Yeah, they will. They will. Well, I mean, I felt really sorry for YouTube in that deal. I mean, really sorry for them because they weren't doing anything. She was imagining these things. She was imagining they throttled her down and things like that.
You should feel sorry for the people that got their lunch hour messed up.
I'm happy that none of them were permanently, or were at least, I don't think any of them were really permanently.
Yeah.
No,
is that last guy out of the hospital?
I don't know. The only person who died was her, And I'm going to ask you this, Phil, because I hear you were a cop. Why do we go into places like this and then they shoot for the most vital organ they can find rather than trying to disable the person?
If you're going to use deadly force, it's called deadly force.
No, but why use deadly force? Why not try and take the person? Can't you shoot for the legs? I mean, there's a lot of mass of your body that you can hit that isn't going to,
No,
it's in the movies.
It's not going to stop the threat. There's an escalation of force policy that every department has.
Yeah.
Some are a little different than others, but for the most part, they're the same. And if you're in a situation where your life or the life of others are in danger, you go from 0 to 60 immediately, and you go to deadly force. Now, the thing is, if you're going to stop the threat and you shoot somebody in the leg, that doesn't stop the threat. What stops the threat is 2 to the chest, 1 to the brain box. Then the threat is stopped. But
isn't that like trying to take a baseball bat when you could use a fly swatter?
Not at the point that somebody is shooting other people. You don't use the fly swatter.
All I'm saying is that not all circumstances are absolutely alike, and who knows that this woman couldn't have just been taken down. But no, they didn't kill her. She shot herself.
But she shot 3 people, and yes, you're right. She shot herself, so it wasn't the cop who took her down. I would think in a lot of these cases, you would want to keep the person alive so you can find out why the fuck they did it. So maybe you can prevent it the next time. That's true, and they did that with the Parkside shooter, the one in Florida.
Yeah.
That guy didn't kill himself, and he was captured alive, and they're trying to find out what the story is. But for the most part, these people have taken their own lives, or unless it was the Bonnie and Clyde shootout that happened in San Bernardino.
Yeah.
There was hundreds and hundreds of bullets exchanged by both sides.
Yeah.
And those people weren't going out without a fight.
Yeah.
But I understand what you're saying. Why don't they just wound or so forth? But the problem is, if they wound somebody who's in the act of killing people, that might give them the opportunity to wound or kill one more person. And at that point, you have to stop the threat. And if
all I'm saying is that you should be able to do something about that. You know what I'm saying? In other words, you should be able to lessen the force that you use dependent upon the situation. I mean,
we're able to do that. And you know why you're able to do that? Because if all of a sudden the person drops the gun and raises their hand, you don't shoot them. Unless you're that guy in South Carolina.
Well, that doesn't seem to work a lot of the time either,
Yeah. Well, there's adrenaline, there's things like that going on, but a cop should be able to be professional enough that if the perpetrator surrenders, you stop shooting. Now, there's other things that you can use if you don't have to use deadly force. You can use a taser, you can use mace, you can use your baton, you can use verbal commands. But these things, you go from those, and the last thing you use is deadly force.
I just put me in the middle of your picture. It's a new place for me to put my box, right in the middle of the 4 of you.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm seeing it on Skype, so I don't.
Oh yeah, you're seeing it on Skype. But I just did that. I feel so proud of myself. Hello, Patrick.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good. I was just on the Facebook and.
On the Facebook?
The Facebook.
What are you, a senator?
Yeah, it was funny. I was listening to one of my conservative talk shows today, and she was talking about what happened yesterday, and she said not one of those people that were interviewing Zuckerberg knew what the hell they were saying.
That's exactly what I was saying earlier.
Right, and she said, and who was the moron that called it the Facebook? She said, these people, they had no business asking about anything that they were.
Somebody said, and I think it was Alex, that the Facebook was the original name.
Somebody mentioned that was the original name, that it was called the Facebook.
Well, now we're on the Skype, so.
Yeah.
By the way, Patrick, there's going to be a job available come January in your area. What's his name? Ryan is retiring.
Oh, yeah, I heard you last night. The problem is he is not in my district.
Oh.
He's just south and west of me.
You just roll over.
Just roll over. You're on wheels. It's easy for you.
Marjorie does it all the time.
And plus, if Tammy Duckworth can do it, so can you. And she had a baby on top of it.
Well, I can't have a baby. I don't have the parts for that, but,
Yeah.
It'll be a while till they figure it out. You can claim.
God, I just
have a baby.
All kinds of just absolutely horrible jokes just came to me about Tammy Duckworth having a baby, and it has something to do with being up on the table. Okay, with no legs. I don't know. Forget it, folks. It's one of those bad taste moments in which I'm making a judgment not to do the joke. Yes,
I'm Silk,
Patrick.
Speaking of, yeah.
I had 3 babies.
Next week and possibly tomorrow will all be Patrick free.
Really? Because it's going to be Phil free tomorrow night. I may have to sign this show off at like 25 minutes of 11.
I'm having surgery this week, so I won't be around for certain on Wednesday or Thursday.
Oh, I see. Okay. But how about
Thursday night? I should be home sometime Thursday, but
yeah.
Well, what you want when you have surgery for that? Do they give you anesthesia for when?
No, they give him a bullet to bite, Phil.
Well, no, he doesn't have any feeling down there. I mean,
Yeah, no, they're insisting on doing the anesthesia.
Yeah.
Because of the kidney stone. And I mean, there's a minor feeling I have. I probably don't want to feel whatever they're going to do. But that when they pull the bladder stone out, that wouldn't be a problem. I wouldn't feel that. But the kidney, so it's going to be like a 20-minute procedure, literally.
Wow.
20 minutes, and, it's done.
Yeah, so why aren't you going to be here tomorrow night?
Because I may be having somebody come over, a buddy of mine. If that doesn't happen, then I'll be.
Oh, okay. Well, I hope more people are participating in the show tomorrow night because Phil isn't going to be here, and maybe you're not going to be here. I'm losing everybody to photography and ailments.
Yeah, well, I'm going to a lecture on diving in the Falklands. It's a guy who National Geographic guy, and he did a lot of diving in the Falklands.
Do they charge for that?
No, I'm a club member.
Oh.
And
diving in the Falklands. That's one I'd take a pass on. But go have fun. Go have fun.
Well,
I'd rather just between you and me have bladder surgery. Okay.
Yeah, I understand. Believe me, I was just talking to a guy tonight, and in Isla Medora, which is the 1 key south of Key Largo, and he said the weather is beautiful, and he was asking me about my operation, and I told him about wearing the diaper and things like that.
Yeah.
I said, I wish I was down there because I could pee in my wetsuit. And,
yes, you could. Well, I bet you have peed in your wetsuit
all the time. There's a reaction that happens when you get into
when you hit water, cold water. Of course. How many of us? Just be honest. Have peed in the pool? Okay, every one of us, right? You hit the water, and all of a sudden there's that urge to pee. That's why there's chlorine in it.
I used to know the name of
what's in the ocean.
Yeah, there's a name for that phenomenon that happens when you get into the water, and
it's called peeing your pants.
Yeah, really. No, there's an actual name for it. But yeah, and the one thing you can't pee in is a dry suit. But now that I'm getting used to these diapers and pads and things like that, I'm never going to have to worry about wearing my dry suit again. I just put the pad in,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, sure. That sounds reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the reason they call it a dry suit is supposed to be dry.
So there are no Depends at Costco, you say?
No male Depends.
No male Depends. I'm sure they must just be out of them.
No. Faye asked them because I sent her there to get them, and they told her that they're not carrying those male diapers anymore.
Why?
She didn't get that far.
Well, I mean, come on! Don't guys piss their pants as much as women do?
I know I do.
Yeah. Well, you'll get that'll get better as time goes on.
It's getting better as.
Let me ask Patrick this. Patrick, the operation they're going to do, is there a chance they'll fuck up the operation and you'll be able to walk again?
Oh, stop! That's terrible. I mean, that's good if they did. Yeah, that's better.
I always do tease that with the doctor that, you know, make sure you do the right thing, because otherwise I could get off this table walking, you know.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I always do say is, you know how they always ask you, how are you doing this morning? You know.
Yeah.
And I always say to them, don't worry about me. I just want to know, did you get enough sleep? Did you get laid? Did you have a good breakfast? That's all I want to know.
Did you not have an argument with your wife?
Right.
Yeah, you don't want a doctor working on that part of your body who's pissed. You know.
You don't ask if will I be able to play the piano after this operation?
Well, I'll tell you what. My particular urologist.
I didn't play it before.
See, that's the joke. I never played.
My particular urologist, she could probably make me walk if she wanted to have sex with me. I mean, she's like a 9.5.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So
Hey, you know the one who shaved me for the prostatectomy, she was a 9.5 too. You know, but the ones that they send into the room after,
yeah,
they would have to pay money to be a 1.
Look, Tony's turned into a dog.
Oh. There he is.
What are you doing on the ground? Giving your dog a blowjob? What's going on down there?
She dropped some underneath my thing here, and she's crying for it. It's just a piece of paper.
What was she doing under your thing?
Well, I got this under the thing too, her bone.
Yeah? What, is that a euphemism for something?
There's nothing there. My back is getting stiff here. Oh, she's got a Met blanket.
This is really interesting TV, ain't it, folks?
She's got a Met blanket, if you can see.
Although this isn't TV, this is the internet. Where
I got this at Shea at City Field when they gave it away, but I gave it to Coco.
Jeez almighty.
Sorry.
Did you put on a hold on him?
She's got a blanket. She's showing it.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to go to bed yet. Go lay down.
So let me see here. So anyway, by the way, I want to thank everybody who's been watching the interview last night with Jack, or that episode, because it's really, we've gotten a lot of people watching it.
I was just watching it again today.
It'll be back on. We'll have the next one on Tuesday. I was kind of worried that the first couple weren't going to be as interesting as the last one, but everybody really loved this first one. So if you like the first one, the second one gets better, and the third one, it's just, I let it go for 50 minutes because it was just so amazing. Yeah. Wow. Yes, Patrick.
Well, like I wrote to you last night, what I did like, and I know you had kind of apologized for it right after the interview, and I like the fact that you had to kind of prod him and rephrase question, because it made it more authentic for his age, and at that age, you're thinking that there's some wistfulness and some thinking that's going on to memory, and it made it more authentic than, let's say, if it would have been 20 or 30 years ago. Even though the interview may have seemed better for you, this reminded me of when I was interviewing my grandfather before he passed, when I was making the book for him about his World War II service. So I enjoyed the hell out of it. I enjoyed the little hiccup that you had where you had to repeat the question. It just made it real. You know?
Well, no, I mean, it was, in one respect, it's one of the hardest interviews I've ever done because as an interviewer, you have to listen, you have to keep on top of things, and you have to try and keep it moving forward. And here I've got a guy who's 87, and his thinking is it's not muddled. I mean, it's still very vibrant and alive, but he tends to go off onto tangents, and as I was telling my students in Paris, blah blah blah. I had to keep that road straight ahead, And for the next episode, I keep going. Well, let's keep moving forward. What I want to do is get closer to Auschwitz so we can talk about that,
What about you going to do another set of interviews on the second part of his life?
I want to. I'm having lunch with him on Sunday. I want to do that. It's just a matter of when and how. And he has not been that well lately. I was lucky to get him for this. He was not feeling well that day, and yet he opened up to me, which I really appreciate. But in some ways, I felt bad about it at times too. I didn't want to prod him too much on stuff, When he started crying, when he started talking about his sister, his 9-year-old sister, saying that she wouldn't deny who she was because I would rather die a Jew than not to admit that I am one, when he said that and he started crying about it, I just, you can't help but feel something about that,
That reminds me of the Spanish Jews that during the Inquisition, they hid in the caves, they practiced their Judaism in private, and I think they called them Moranos, or
I don't know.
It was a word for those Jews that practiced in private, and then many of them.
Well, in Spain, you had the Inquisition, and they would take people like Jews and make them say they believed in Christ, and many of them wouldn't. I mean, that's what they tortured them about.
I think you're correct that they're Moranos.
Moranos. Yes, Tony.
I have to cut you off because she's got to go outside again.
Oh, I only got 4 people, and you have to go because your fucking dog has to take a leak.
She's going to do potty on the floor if I don't take her.
Oh, okay.
That'll be
I'll talk to you tomorrow night. I'll call back tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Please. You may be the only one. Boy, will that be a great show.
Yeah, the work set. So
yeah,
cool.
Yeah. Jeff, you got to guarantee me you're going to call tomorrow night, right?
I'll pick.
Okay.
It's the only way he'll get a word in edgewise.
Yeah. So we lost Tony. He's taking his dog out for a leak. Which, by the way, let me ask you this, Phil. And if this is too embarrassing a question, tell me to go fuck myself.
Go fuck yourself, but ask.
In all these nights since you've gotten home from the hospital, and we're doing this show, and you're obviously wearing the diaper, right?
Yeah.
Have you taken a piss while we've been on the air?
No. I have been able to hold. Now, occasionally during the day, there's a leak because I have to change out the pad a couple of times.
Yeah.
So I might turn the wrong way or something, and there's a little bit of a leak. But I got a really good stream before the show, and I should be fine.
Isn't that wonderful now? You don't have that prostate anymore, how fluid you are and how strong the stream is?
Yeah, well, sometimes. It's not always as strong as I'd like.
I know this isn't what you tuned in to hear, but the numbers just went up. This is amazing.
I don't
All of a sudden, they go up. A couple more people are listening because I'm asking you whether you pee your pants while I'm doing the show.
Yeah, sure, I pee my pants. It's just a funny show.
Yeah, and of course, I don't have to ask that of Patrick because he just casts when he needs to, right? Yeah.
Right now, for the last 3 weeks, I've been having issues because of the bladder stone that keep bouncing around and make the bladder spasm.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of a little game kind of like a little game of Pong going on in there.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what it is, Alex. If I move, I clean my place every Saturday or Sunday, and it requires a lot of reaching and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I've got to wear essentially. It's called a chuck, and it's what they put on a bed, whenever you go in the hospital in case you were to mess yourself. So I've got ducks here from years ago, and I cut them up, and I put one over myself, and then do my cleaning, because invariably I'm going to piss a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
So it becomes a real pain in the dick to do that.
Well,
But
we've been joined by John Rockwell. Hello, John. How are you? We haven't heard from you in a while.
Well, I saw you lost. I just got on. And I saw you lost a person. It's like, okay, it's time for me to come on and say hello.
Yeah, why haven't
a
you
couple of weeks?
What have you been
and
pissed?
you're talking about medical stuff. I had a nice little medical emergency, and
really?
I'm good.
What was your medical emergency?
My heart flutter came back, but I caught it, and I was only in the hospital for a day and a half, and the thing is, this time, before the medicine helped, this time they kept me overnight and not let me eat until about 3 in the afternoon, and then they did an electroshock on me.
Right,
and I'll tell you, it did the trick. It was amazing.
Well, it was a defibrillator, right?
The defib. Well, it's a smaller. It's not like the ones you get, at your local restaurant.
Nobody's yelling.
It's really, they put a pad here and they put a pad in the back, and I asked him, is it the same sort of level of intensity as the ones that you use for emergency? He said, no, but it's not very comfortable, so we knock you out.
It's just to get your heart into rhythm, if I'm not mistaken.
Back in the rhythm. Yeah, I was doing like 140 boom, 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 for about 3 days. I'm like, this is not good. It's not going down. So they put me on the medicine.
That's what she said.
That helped me before, and that got me down to like 120. That's still not good. It's like that's
boom, 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 boom. Yeah.
It was boom, 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 boom. Whatever. And
what's your rhythm right now?
Boom, 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 boom. 70, 80, something like that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And danced from that.
My latest problem is I have hand problems. I get cramps.
2 weeks ago today, I was let out of the hospital. I went in on Wednesday night, and they didn't do the zapping until Thursday afternoon, which is, unfortunately they didn't want you to eat, which is the thing that I was more hungry than anything else.
Yeah, John, that was a good tune, but I don't know if you can dance to it.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Well, I've got a problem.
It was sort of a disco. It was a disco beat, about 120, 140.
I'm getting a lot of cramps. I'm getting a lot of cramps in my fingers lately.
Need more water.
You think that's it?
Yeah.
Also cramping in my legs cramp.
Hydrate.
Maybe.
Well, no, I'm taking magnesium and stuff, but maybe I need to drink water. Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, water or some good liquid that's not.
Hey, we've been joined by Tim. I guess I got to put my face back in a normal place.
I like you in the middle there. That was sort of interesting.
Yeah, but now we got.
I'm in the corner somewhere, and you were whatever.
Well, since Tim's on the phone, why can't you make him small and make yours large?
Yeah,
I can't.
I don't belong in the circle of trust.
No, I don't. We can't make him small. It's just a big blue square with a telephone because Tim calls on the phone. If we ever saw Tim and what he looked like, we'd all be disappointed.
I'm in the witness protection program, Alex. Please don't.
Of course, I imagine you are.
I've seen Tim on Facebook, and he looks like a thinner version of Mike Pompeo.
Really? Okay, I saw him today. Yeah.
I prefer Elton John.
Okay, yeah, definitely. I prefer Elton John.
How much do you prefer Elton John?
I've been told I look somewhat like Jerry Garcia, actually.
Not really. I'm trying to think. You do look like something like
Phil. Know, but my photo for my senior half-price Metro card looks a lot like Jerry Garcia.
Oh, really?
Have you all bought my new book on Amazon?
Oh, you have a book?
Yeah, The Doorman Cometh.
Oh, that's the most current.
It's shocking, just shocking.
What's shocking?
The latest. Did you hear about that?
No,
The doorman that says that he has some sort of some sort of crap about, or some sort of weird.
No, he was paid $30,000
illegal or having a baby or something with somebody in his building.
No, wait a minute. Didn't I hear about some doorman who was getting paid $30,000 by Trump not to talk about something? But we don't know what it is because he took the $30,000.
Hey, that's standard tip at Trump Tower.
Right. Exactly. Give me $30,000. I won't talk about anything.
Believe me. Yeah.
That's nothing like the skeleton they dug up with Scooter Libby.
Well, yeah.
Scooter Libby.
Scurtsy.
Remember Scoot? Yeah.
He did a practice pardon. He's in the bullpen. Let's pardon somebody that lied to the CIA and the FBI. It's not a thing.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you though, Alex. I gotta tell you though, the one thing I really liked about I thought was great about being in that whole hospital thing is that the drug they gave me to knock me out is the same one that killed Michael Jackson.
Yeah. Well, no, that's but they use it.
It's the amnesia drug. They gave it to me, and I literally they said you're going to see a little tired. I don't really feel tired. We're done. I'm like, what?
No, propofol is wonderful. I mean, I do that with propofol. Tell me if I'm not wrong. The great thing about propofol is just before you go out, just seconds before you go out, there is this wonderful rush.
I don't remember it. That's the problem.
My wife loves to get operated on because she lives for that.
Wonderful rush.
She lives for that. They laid me down on the table. They moved me across to another table, and I don't remember a thing after I woke up.
Exactly. That's it.
Except you felt your back pocket and somebody had stolen your prostate. Yeah.
Really.
Yes.
That's what they do for colonoscopies. Is a propofol.
Yeah, well, that's what when I've had it. When I've had it, yeah. And
I had a colonoscopy where I could actually watch they had the video thing. I could watch it. It was like, this is John's colon. You know?
Was that? No. I had a not a cystoscopy. What's the other one that you get? It's the lower part of the intestine. Sigmoidoscopy.
Sigmoid, yeah.
And that I saw. They said, do you want to see it? And I said, not particularly. But I watched it anyway because
it was fascinating. I like science.
It was like a fantastic voyage.
But colonoscopies, you don't want to be awake to see that happening. Patrick's got his hand up. Yes, Patrick.
Oh yeah,
camera.
Oh.
The problem with propofol, that's what killed Joan Rivers, isn't it?
No,
I think
no.
It might have helped.
Something.
Well, what happened is you could have these procedures at a non-hospital setting. Like just a satellite building,
right? That's how you have.
And they don't have all the emergency procedures handy, and they get.
Well, haven't you heard the story I tell Tim about how my wife went down to a place to have a, I think it wasn't a colonoscopy, it was something else. They were looking at something. I think it was an endoscopy going down the throat. And
my wife said
which is about the same thing I think they were doing with Joan Rivers because they were looking for some polyps on her nodes on her vocal cords, and. I noticed when I go in there, I suddenly something familiar about this facility. And I went, this is where Joan Rivers died.
Over in my neighborhood on the Upper East Side, right? Yeah.
And so I really started worrying about
her.
About
their
her.
Name on the wall?
What?
Do they have her name up on the wall?
Yeah, they have her name up on the
Joan
wall.
Joan Rivers wing.
With a circle and a slash. Exactly. No, it said owner of hospital Melissa Rivers. That's I think when I saw that.
At this point,
yes, Patrick. Patrick had his hand up. Will you let the poor guy talk? Jeez, you're going to make him a cripple.
I am talk.
That's right. No,
I never forget.
Well, let Patrick talk.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, before they give me any drug, now the way that they intubate me, it's through the nose. Mm-hmm. So I did an endoscopy through the nose, and you're awake for that whole process. And I could watch it on the screen because they obviously have a screen for themselves.
Yeah.
And I'm totally awake for it. And the great thing is, it's almost like if I were gay and giving head, it's as soon as the thing hit the back of your throat and you gag, then it's like they hit the button and you're gone.
Right.
So, it's good that way.
Well,
there's no rush for me with any of the anesthesia. I'm just out, done.
You know what I wouldn't want? Hold on a second, Phil. You know what I wouldn't want to get?
What?
Brain surgery. Because when they do brain surgery, they don't put you out.
Right.
Yeah.
They have to keep you awake.
They want to know what you're thinking or how you're.
Yeah. Pizza? Is this your prom?
Exactly.
Is this when you got your first driver's license? Let me see.
You know. Yes,
I have
Phil.
a friend who had a big, thing. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Go
So
ahead.
anyway, when they went to put the tube down my throat for the operation, I have severe sleep apnea. And so what happened was they couldn't incubate me. They couldn't get.
Well,
the
is there
tube
anything
down.
that's right with you, Phil?
Nothing.
Yeah. Jeez,
So-
you're a mess.
so-
I keep thinking I'm a mess. Just my feet that are numb all the time. That's all.
So
And my
anyway,
hands.
they ended up putting a trumpet up my nose.
Really?
Huh?
A trumpet up your nose?
Yeah, it's a plastic tube.
Oh, I thought you were actually going to play like Nearer My God
He's
to
gonna be
Thee or
all
something
hurt.
like that.
Right.
But they said that I was throwing around 90-pound nurses around the operatory when they tried to incubate me, and so
And next they're going to charge you with
absolutely
sexual
do that,
harassment. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Are you sure this isn't when you were abducted by the aliens?
well,
Maybe again I'm confused. Phil.
If that was a trumpet up another orifice.
No. Shortly afterwards, they put me on a table, and then they felt around in my body with a robot. And I'm sure that I was abducted on a UFO because they cut.
Anybody watch People of Earth?
Yes.
I haven't.
Well, that was pretty funny. Yeah.
It's cute. I heard about it, but I haven't.
I tried getting through it. I didn't, You know what I watched? I watched that documentary on Andre the Giant tonight.
I watched it a couple of days ago. I was fascinated because
Well, you know
I'm not a big
what's
wrestling fan.
What's fascinating?
What a story!
Yeah, but it's a fascinating film from the standpoint that, like, for instance, Girlfriend isn't into wrestling, doesn't know about it. I used to follow WWF when they did the first WrestleManias and so on.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew a lot about it. You know, my favorite. I talked to Bubbles about. What was his name? Oh God, I had to come up with the name and I forgot it. The big hairy guy, who was.
Oh yeah.
George the Animal Steel.
George the Animal Steel.
I was a big fan of George the Animal Steel. Anybody who goes on in a ring and starts eating the turnbuckle, I like him. And plus the fact that this guy was like, he was in Ed Wood. He played Tor Johnson in Ed Wood. And he had the hairiest body of any human being in wrestling, okay? And just was ugly as sin and just crazed. And come to find out, what does he do when he's not wrestling? He was a college professor.
Exactly.
You know, so you ever hear of Haystacks Calhoun?
Oh yeah, I remember. Haystacks Calhoun.
When I was a kid, my mother took me to the White Plains Arena or something, and Haystacks Calhoun was there. And his big claim to fame was that he ate 60 eggs a day and 5 loaves of bread.
Well, this documentary on Andre the Giant, he used to drink like 24 bottles of wine in a night.
Mm-hmm.
You know, mainly because and it would only give him a mild buzz because he was such a huge guy. I mean, he had gigantism. I mean, he was just a big fucking human being.
7 feet tall or something.
He was 7'4". 7 foot.
They said 7'4", but it could have been.
Yeah,
it was at least 7 feet tall.
At least 7 feet tall, and he weighed 550 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? He died of a heart attack. Who would have thunk? Anyway, but the thing that she found amazing about it is, if you don't know about wrestling, this shows you a little bit about the history of wrestling and the kind of theater that they create. And he happened to be one of the first people to really be so theatrical that he was a big wrestler.
I went to the Oakland Coliseum. And I was able to get in and walk around and look at different angles and watch these wrestlers do their thing.
Mm-hmm.
They don't make contact in many cases. You know, these slaps and these things, they're all phony.
Oh, of course.
No
kidding.
They're not as big as big as you think they are.
Yeah, but you know something? When they do a really good job of it, and they do a really good job of tumbling and stuff, you really say, hey, there's an athleticism in that. You know?
Yeah.
Here comes Jack.
It's all theater, definitely.
Here comes Jack. He has nothing better to do than a show.
He's wrestling.
Alex, our mutual friend Bob Castro was my old roommate was a real wrestling fan. That's how I got into wrestling. That he would watch it on in our apartment, and back in the 70s and 80s, and I had no interest before that.
Yeah.
They had in Chicago, I grew up. They had wrestling on TV, but this is before. One of the things I was interested in about that show was talking about how the WWF was started because of cable and became this national thing. Otherwise, it was all local.
Yeah, and
Everybody had their
it's
local
now, by
thing,
the
and
way, the
that's-
WWE, World Wrestling Entertainment.
The World Wildlife Fund got
The
pissed.
World Wildlife Fund got pissed off, and sued them and said you can't use WWF. And they've been using it for what? 30 years, Jack, are you there?
Yes, I'm right here. Oh, let me turn my camera
Yeah, that
on.
would be nice. That would be a courtesy. It's uncourteous not to turn on your camera.
Well,
That's all right.
I've
I
got
just see JB there.
I've got a face for a still photo. I cannot believe, as
There he
long
is.
as I have known you, Bennett, that both you and I would be fans of George the Animal Steel.
Oh, well, George Animal Steel was the best, man.
Oh, hey.
Fantastic.
I love
Here
him.
in this market, they used to run the wrestling matches every night on one of the UHF TVs. And my first wife and myself would stay up to watch the matches. And one Christmas, do you remember when they were marketing the action figures of wrestlers?
Oh, yeah, they did that.
Yeah,
They've been doing that for years.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan and...
My wife found a George the Animal Steel.
Oh, my God. I
for
would
me.
I would want one. I would pay.
I have it. I have
Harry
it.
and everything, huh?
Yeah. Donna asked me when we
Gia
first
Pet?
got together, what the hell is this? And I said, you unwashed person. Hey, this is George the Animal Steel.
Yes. God damn it.
She might like Gorgeous George better than George
Oh,
the
that was a classic. That was earlier.
No,
yeah.
but George Animal Steel was different than Gorgeous George. You can't compare the two. George Animal Steel was like a throwback. Genetically.
Neanderthal.
Yeah, Neanderthal. And he was he was in Ed Wood playing Tor Johnson. And all these
He
guys
looked like
had,
Tor
a lot of them had a movie career here and there. Rowdy Piper. Roddy Piper.
He was in a science fiction film.
Couple of
right?
films.
One of the
Couple
worst
films.
films ever.
What?
Yeah.
Was
One
in
of the
some
worst
film.
No, it wasn't a terrible film. You mean the one?
Oh, listen. That thing was as
Where
bad
everybody's
as
looking in their glasses and see all that everybody's an alien. I thought that was interesting.
I thought
film.
it was-
I watched that on cable.
I can think of a lot worse films than that.
Wasn't he in a film that he played like this small-time wrestler that had lost his panache, and he was playing things for $25 and $50 just to.
I don't remember.
You don't remember? I think it was Piper. That's who it was.
Yeah, but I mean, but you got The Rock is maybe the biggest star in the world right now.
Yeah, right. He just got a brand new film that everybody's watching, if you like, which is based on a video
but
game
I mean,
that I played.
he is the
and it's such a crappy video game.
he's the most bankable
Rampage.
star in Hollywood.
Who's that?
The Rock, Dwayne Johnson.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Yeah. So he's done pretty well.
Last couple of films
and
were
of
like-
course, Andre the Giant was in The Princess Bride. If anybody.
Oh yeah,
remembers
that
him.
was, I love that film. That is so much fun.
Yeah.
Now, the guy who was the local announcer for matches here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, dear friend of mine, he's still with us. He's 90-something now.
Yeah.
And when they stopped doing local matches on television here for a few years, this guy, Bill Mercer, who was the sports director at one of the radio stations, Bill and I became really good friends, and he said to me, Jack, we're going to start local matches again. Why don't you come be a part of the show? That's what they call it, the show.
Right.
And I said, look, man, I'm 50 years old. I couldn't do that. He said, no, we'll make you a manager. We'll create a character for you. And he said, and you can make $200 a match. Just for coming around and throwing chickens in the ring or something. And my wife wouldn't let me do it.
Oh well, what kind of pussy are you?
Oh, the kind of pussy that knows which side his bread is buttered
Pussy who wants some pussy. Yes, Patrick had his hand up. Patrick.
Yeah, I would do that. I'd do that paralyzed, and then that could be like the whole thing that I get paralyzed at the end of each match. You know, I mean,
there you go.
Patrick, you have no pride whatsoever.
No.
But then you lift them up and drop them down.
Yeah, exactly. It's like we have an argument in the back room, how they show that sometimes.
Yeah.
And then whoever my opponent is comes in with me held up and then drops me on the mat. And then that's the end of the match.
And you can't get up.
You're paralyzed and you can't get up. You have to crawl out of the ring.
It was Mickey Rourke.
Mickey Rourke. Oh, no, you're thinking...
Of The Wrestler, yeah.
The movie The Wrestler. Well, if he had said that, I could have told you it was Mickey Rourke.
Yeah. Well, I looked around.
But it was based on characters like you're talking about.
That was Rowdy Roddy Piper? No, I don't think so.
My favorite was Superfly Jimmy Snuka.
Oh, yeah.
Who is now like somewhat, I mean, he's he had some major thing about, messing with his wife or something like that. So his lawyer says, well, his brains are totally scrambled from doing all that wrestling, and that's how.
Gene Okerlund. You know who else in this documentary? Here's a name for you: Gene Okerlund, who was the announcer and the MC for WWF for years.
He was on that the show.
The documentary. Yes, Patrick.
Yes.
Yeah, I was just recalling. I couldn't remember his name offhand, but my very favorite wrestler was Junkyard Dog.
Oh, yeah.
I vaguely remember him.
Funny.
I loved him. I mean, JYD came out there, and I was like, Hulk Hogan, who? Fuck that.
By the way, do you know this is one way that we managed to keep Tim quiet? He probably... Wait a minute. Hold on a second.
We had Chief White Owl, I think.
Politically
incorrect.
Well, the thing they bring up in this documentary is that for the longest time there were these different wrestling organizations in every part of the country, and they all had the franchise, and nobody encroached on anybody else's territory. And what happened was cable came in, and Vince McMahon got this crazy idea and told Dad, "Why don't we take this whole thing nationwide through cable?" And that's what they did, and
they were able to offer better money to the wrestlers. They all went over to McMahon.
They were all knocking on their door, at least.
They were knocking on his door. Like,
yes, Linda McMahon is that Linda McMahon.
Yeah,
she's the Trump organization now.
Same one.
She's got some
major contributor.
Yeah. Yes.
Cable's not as good as going to the fight sitting in the front row with your aunt, who's addicted to wrestlers.
Yeah.
My aunt was just addicted. It was great.
Jack has his hand up.
Yeah, it was great.
Jack?
When they throw the chairs, especially when they got out of the ring. That was the best part.
Jack, fight for space.
They got thrown over the ropes.
In getting to know my friend Bill Mercer, who was the local announcer here in the Dallas market, he told me the joke that wrestlers...
That was also Roscoe's name. You remember Roscoe, the announcer in San Francisco? Yeah. And then he went to New York. His name is Bill Mercer.
Yeah. Well, it's a different
Bill Mercer, but his name is Bill Mercer.
This is the white Bill Mercer we're talking about.
Oh, okay. There's a white Bill Mercer?
Anyway, wrestlers have this joke. And let me try to get this right. What has 20 eyes, 20 arms, 20 legs, and 3 teeth?
Okay.
The front row of a wrestling audience.
I see. Okay.
Remember the guy in Houston who did the matches, Paul Bosch?
Huh?
Paul Bosch in Houston, the guy that did the matches there back in...
I didn't pay attention to wrestling back then.
Well, anyway, you were talking about how George the Animal Steel was a college professor.
Yeah.
Bosch was a noted writer of poetry and had 2 or 3 books of his poetry published.
Wow.
Hey,
Dr. Gonzo, the Doc of Comedy Rock, was a English professor
He became an English professor.
Yeah, he became.
He wasn't when I knew him.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean,
you got to work wherever you can work.
Well, I
now,
mean,
probably the only guy that didn't have some sort of intellectual pursuit that was in the wrestling business was a guy named Hacksaw Jim Reed. If you remember him, his whole thing was he'd walk into the ring with a not a 2x4, but a big piece of wood, and he'd just stick out his tongue and go, ah.
Well, the latest thing they're doing a lot of documentaries on is Hedy Lamarr, because you want to talk about somebody with a dual life. There was the most beautiful woman in movies, right? And she wound up inventing a thing called frequency hopping, which is now used in cell phones.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
And
smart woman.
she and a guy by the name of what's his name now? See, I was saying the name today, and then off the top of my head now I can't remember it. But she had another guy she invented it with, and it was meant to make it so that torpedoes could go, and they couldn't shoot them out of the water because the frequency they were on kept hopping.
Yeah.
And it never got used, and then in 1952 the government decided to use it. By then she let the patent lapse, and the very things that made frequency hopping work are the things that now are incorporated in cell phones. So,
they brought up that story in the TV show on NBC, Timeless.
A couple of weeks ago, but there's also, I think it's on either Netflix or HBO, there's a documentary coming up on Hedy Lamarr.
Well, I thought it was so neat when they did it in Timeless, and one of the characters said, "You know that thing about frequency hopping?
Yeah.
Don't let the
patent run out. Yeah. She was a, so I always like it when I hear about a guy who's a wrestler and is like George the Animal Steele, and he's also a college professor.
What's he teach?
I don't know. Harry Bax, I guess. He's dead now. What? Yes, John.
Well, you're talking about Hedy Lamarr, and the first thing I thought was from Blazing Saddles.
Hedley Lamarr. No, it's not. They kept calling him Hedy. It's Hedley.
My high school science teacher went to college with Rudy Valley and used to talk about him all the time.
Wow.
Really?
He was pretty old. Yeah.
Yeah, he must have been really old.
And we got him. I think we bought him some memorabilia from Rudy.
Yeah, I think Rudy Valley was maybe the whitest singer that ever lived.
No, Pat Boone was.
Close.
Huh? Who?
Pat Boone was.
Pat Boone, close, but Rudy Valley in the loop there. Yeah,
Pat Boone's a little orange now, like Boehner. What do you think about Boehner getting a job with the marijuana company?
Oh yeah, that's fun.
I didn't hear about that, but you'll tell me about it tomorrow night, Tim.
Yeah.
You'll
that one's true.
You'll tell us about it tomorrow night. Phil's not going to be here tomorrow night. Thank you for being here tonight, Phil. Patrick, if you can be here tomorrow night, I'm going to be struggling for callers, I think. Well, Tim's gone now. I'd ask him, but excuse me, that was Jack that went away. It's Tim that's still here. Patrick, thank you so much tonight. You, Jeff, thank you. John Rockwell, and of course Tim and Jack.
He coached football.
What?
And he coached football and wrestling. That's what he taught.
Who?
George the Animal Steele.
Oh, okay.
In, Madison Heights.
Whatever. Anyway, we got to go. I think all of you should wave goodbye to everybody, okay? There we go. They're waving goodbye. Look at that excitement as they wave goodbye. It's really hearty, isn't it? See you all hopefully tomorrow night, or most of you, I guess. Let me just turn off all the phones here so that Jack can use them next, because he's here with the intersection. And that is followed by, with Amy Manuel. And then that's followed at 1 o'clock this morning by the intersection. Which is a wonderful show coming out of Florida, and that's at 1 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time tomorrow night, 9:30. Damien with the Exchange, and then tomorrow night at 10, I'll be back here, same time, same station in life. In the meantime, as always, if you see her, tell her I love her. Okay, bye.